Well, hello, friends. Welcome into another edition of the Community Texags Rewind presented by Yeti. Nick, why are we calling it a Community Rewind?
I guess if it's more than just you and whoever's at the desk, it's the Community Rewind. So me and, of course, Eric Casares at the News and Social Center.
Whoop!
How about that little,
That was-
circle introduction? Anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Rocking the all black today. Let's go.
Are we
of
all
us.
three in black?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Community?
Yeah, Tom Hart was in black on the show. This is a part of the Rewind where, the olds are like, can you get to the sports already? And the youngs are like, yeah, dude. What kind of shoes are you wearing? So what did we have on the program today, Nicholas?
Well, we had
Hey, wait, by the way.
Shereen Williams. Whoa, what?
Nicholas or Nick?
It's Nicholas.
Okay.
I mean, that's my official name.
Okay,
but
just make sure.
I go by Nick.
Has anybody ever called you Nikki?
Yes, my mother.
Okay, I won't do it.
Yeah,
Just
she's the
curious.
only one. Shereen Williams, Pro Football Talk, of course.
We like
Tennessee preview with Eric Kane. Got a little insider there from the Vols. Megan Gibson Lofton talking a little Aggie softball. 2 days in a row, we're talking Aggie softball on the Rewind. And SEC Network's Tom Hart, of course.
Hey, and part of that is you guys asked for more softball. I'm giving you more softball.
I think they deserve
They
more
deserve
coverage.
softball. And I will say this, Nick, you pay a lot of attention to the softball team, so I appreciate your insight getting us ready
course.
for that. Hey, Eric, by the way, we're not doing like, comment, subscribe after the show anymore. I mean, we just kind of we feel like the show has grown enough that people know to like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay, I respect it.
All right.
So what are we going to say now then?
We're not going to say we're just going to fade to black. That's it. That's it. After we do the rewind, it's over.
All right, enjoy this segment.
That the Ravens would be interested in trading for that number 2 pick. What would they be offering? And was that means that they would be willing to deal Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what that would be. That would be a trade for Lamar Jackson.
Well, I'd take that if I was the Texans in a minute.
Yeah,
I will too.
no question. Would you give up both picks? Would you give up
Yes.
2 and 12? Because that's probably what it would
Yes.
take. And I would too. I would give up both of those picks and take Lamar Jackson. He's the known quality among those you don't know how quarterbacks are going to develop. You just don't. Teams don't know. If there was an exact science to it, they wouldn't make as many mistakes as what they make. Look at Zach Wilson right now. What are the Jets going to do with Zach Wilson? He's
The same
never
thing
gonna
they
play.
did
He's
with
the
Sam
number 2
Darnold.
overall pick. Absolutely, that's exactly right. They don't know how to scout quarterbacks. They have no clue how to scout quarterbacks. They don't know. So you've seen Lamar Jackson. You know what he can do. He's won an MVP award. Go get Lamar Jackson. I'd be all for that. I'm with you. I think that would be a great trade. Boy, that would shake up the draft too, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Hey, Shereen, what's up with Zeke Elliott? Was he hanging out with the Cowboys the other day and Dak or something I read?
Yeah, he's nowhere right now. It's going to be after the draft when he figures out where he's going to go, and it's going to be a lower contract probably than what he wants, incentive laden deal wherever that is. But it depends on the Cowboys. Do they get a running back in the draft? Do they get a running back high in the draft? If they do, I think he's definitely done in Dallas. They're not going to offer him even a minimum salary deal. If they don't get a running back, I think there's a chance that they offer him a minimum salary deal and he could end up back in Dallas.
Any newcomers turning some heads that we may hear about next season?
Aaron Carter, true freshman linebacker from the Mid-State here in Tennessee. Alabama wanted him. He elected to go to Tennessee, and so that was a big win for Josh Heupel. He had a really good spring. Picked off Joe Milton early on in camp. Looked pretty good. Ethan Davis, tight end from Sewanee, Georgia. Really nice athletes type receiver, big receiver in the Josh Heupel offense. He is a freshman, and he got banged up at the end of the orange and white game. So that's going to set him back a little bit, but he'll be back for the season. I would look for him as well. And then I mentioned Gabe Judy-Lawley. Also, John Campbell on the offensive line. He's going to be a starter for Tennessee coming over from Miami. He'll play left tackle. Those are probably the biggest ones, the newcomers who are talked most about here on Rocky Top.
All right, talk to me a little bit about the schedule. Obviously, we know A&M's on the schedule. We will be visiting there during the season. How difficult? All SEC schedules are difficult, but how difficult is their particular schedule?
Yep, it's always difficult. I believe I don't have it in front of me, but I believe Florida's game 3 out of the gate, and it's down in the swamp, and that's going to be a tremendous challenge for Tennessee. Even though, in my opinion, Florida's a little bit down this year, they're very unsettled at quarterback. it's a great opportunity, but for a rivalry where it's been one-sided here of late, playing on the road in the Swamp, that's going to be tough for Tennessee. But that's the challenge every year, right? Got South Carolina shortly after that at home, and that's going to be a big-time revenge game, hopefully for Tennessee in their minds because of what happened in Columbia, South Carolina last year. Which Spencer Rattler you going to get, right? I think you go Alabama and A&M back-to-back, and A&M is coming to Neyland, I believe. So that's going to be a challenge. And then, of course, Kentucky's gotten better, in my opinion, at the quarterback position, even though Will Levis is going to be a top 15 draft pick. You've got Georgia that's going to be a challenge as well. UTSA's on that schedule is non-conference. It's not going to be a gimme because they can score some points. So it's going to be tough for sure. It always is. I think Tennessee, just sitting here in April, I think there's a path to 9 wins. I think that if you were to get 9 regular season wins, that would be very much acceptable, and you'd be really, really happy with that considering everything you lost. But you gotta get consistent quarterback play for that to happen, and we'll see if that does.
I mean, I think they have so much talent. It's believing in yourself and believing that you have that talent against the teams that I guess you're quote unquote not supposed to beat on paper. Those are the funnest games, and those are the games you play with a chip on your shoulder. And I think that they've done a really good job of playing against those teams, the teams that they're not really supposed to beat on paper. And then the teams that I guess on the flip side, they should beat on paper. It's harder because it's a different focus. Like you have to maintain that ability to have that focus throughout the entire season, not just, basically I say like you play up against good teams and then not that you play down, but you still have to maintain that same that focus again.
Yeah,
maintain that same thing.
Can that be a good thing for a team that's young and not it's never good to lose to a team that you should beat, but at least to kind of give you that reminder, hey, this is the SEC. Any weekend, like we haven't accomplished anything yet. We've had a good run, but we have not accomplished anything yet.
Right. I think it's the SEC's tough, no doubt. And softball in general, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And I think it's just, really rallying around each other and maintaining that stability of the climb on that roller coaster ride and not taking those nosedives. But they have some really great talent on that team.
Yeah, there's no doubt. What do you think about the pitching staff?
Well, I'm a little biased. I coached Emily Kennedy for a year, and I've gotten to know some of those girls really well. I think they're great, and I know that's Trisha's bread and butter, and you can absolutely tell these kids have significantly improved their mental game, their physicality. They look great on the mound. I think it's now just putting all things together all the time, which being a young team, it's hard to do that. And I hate to even say that, but you learn from experience. But I think they'll be fine.
So I ask you, I keep saying, so I ask you, why do you think he's got such a bug to pick with Jimbo? And I can trace it back to the clown comment, but he made comments about Jimbo before that, which brought on the clown comments.
I don't know. And I don't know that those on the outside would ever know. Usually these relationships go back decades, right? And any spite that's carried over from, bumping into each other on the recruiting trail, or, there could be scenarios where one coach is trying to do favors to another coach that he really likes. And maybe a friend was, listen, here's the bottom line. It's kind of like high school relationships, like Jimmy is mad at Sally, not because Jimmy has a problem with Sally directly, but how Sally treated Jimmy's best friend. And so Jimmy's going to be mean to Sally, whether or not they have ever been to homecoming or prom together. And then you've got this web of relationships. So I think it's a two-way street. I just don't think Jimbo talks about it. My guess is that dislike flows both ways. They're not the only two in the league, right? I mean, there's some guys in the East that I don't want to throw names out there, but coaches of teams that really dislike each other and throw shade at each other publicly and even privately. I think it's great for the league, as long as, I don't think Greg Sankey wants these guys talking a bunch of junk through the media about each other or about the teams or their recruiting practices or anything like that. I think the effort is to try and keep it civil and above board, because if you don't, you give a lot of ammo to other leagues and coaches in other parts of the country.